Okay, so we'll continue on with the service again. Welcome, everybody. Today, our theme is celebrating our partnership with the people of Guatemala. And we've had this relationship with this town for over 15 years now, and we'll hear a little bit about the history of that as we go along today. We feel so fortunate to have this connection. It's truly a partnership. We do lots of different projects down there together with the people of Guatemala. Some of the people from have been to visit us as well, and we from our church down to Guatemala to spend a week or so with the people there, and we did that again this year. And so the team that went down are going to be sharing all sorts of different stories. We have all sorts of different perspectives on how that time went. So it's going to be a big, thorough update, which is going to be great. And to kick the time off, we're going to just show you a little slideshow of what happened back in July. Pretty much everything. Okay, that was it. So we can sing our last song now. And no, we're going to hear a lot more from everybody. And I want us to give a really warm welcome to the leader of the trip this time, who was Trish Audie and her husband Steve. So they're going to come and share first. So let's welcome them.
Sorry, got to get settled. Good morning. Yes, my name is Trish Audie, and I was honored to lead the trip that went this year. We are so excited to share our trip with you today, and I think you can see through the slideshows that it was truly an unforgettable experience. In fact, I'm still emotional from watching all the slides again. For those of you younger folk and older folk who are interested in doing some coloring or word searches during our time together, we do have those right in the back near where the instruments are. So if anybody wants any colored pencils, coloring, and word searches, they're right along the side of the sound booth there. So as we said, Cedar Ridge's connection to Guatemala goes back to 2010. That's 15 years that we've been partners there. We partner with a local nonprofit there called A Cedar, a group of volunteers who are passionate about helping their community. We had the chance to spend a lot of time with the members of A Cedar on our trip, and we were blown away by their hospitality, their hard work, and the way that they care for their community. And also their excellent piñata selection. They were the ones that hooked us up with piñatas for our school visits. Anyone here love a good piñata? Anyone? Anyone? Okay. You can ask us about some of our great piñata stories later when you get a chance to talk to us. Here we are having dinner with our A Cedar partners early in our trip, and we spent that time talking together about what we were excited about for the week ahead. The A Cedar team welcomed us like family, and we got to work alongside them, and we got to visit a lot of our projects that we've done over the years, which include visiting schools, providing scholarships to students, reforestation projects, smokeless stove installations, house builds, and most recently, our solar panel projects. You're going to hear about some of these projects later in the service. This trip was especially meaningful for me because it was my first official time leading a trip. And our team was absolutely amazing, and I want to give a huge shout out to them. We were the first group to return since 2019 after a long pause due to COVID. So it was a big deal for us to be able to go again. But even when we couldn't travel there, we never stopped supporting our partners in Ipala. Another cool fact to know is that Cedar Ridge has sent over 15 teams to Ipala. That is a legacy worth celebrating. So I would like anyone who has ever traveled to Ipala to please stand, and if you're on Zoom, please wave. So everyone who's ever traveled to Ipala, let's applaud that over the years. We have quite a legacy, and here are some of the names of people who have traveled over the years. You'll also get to see pictures from different teams that have gone. That's Rosie's in that bottom picture, which you saw a picture of in our time together too. And so these are just teams that have gone for the last 15 years. You can see that we have so many memories and so many stories to share. So for those of you that have traveled, or if you've ever financially supported our projects in Ipala, if you've served on the Guatemala team in any way, thank you. You've made a huge difference, not only in Ipala, but in the hearts of all of us who have been able to take part in that journey. Sorry, I'm tall. When we travel to Ipala, it doesn't feel just like a regular service trip or a missions trip. It feels like we're going to visit family. I think we all experienced that. The warmth, the shared meals, the laughs, but especially the precious moments that we got to spend just in quality time and conversation together. I was reminded of how connected we all are by God's love. Despite our cultural and language differences, we're connected by His love for us and our desire to share that love with one another as Christ followers. These trips have created lifelong bonds, both with the people that we've met there and with the people that we travel with. Sorry. Brian Peterson, one of our former pastors and longtime trip leader, actually kept a running tally of how many people from Cedar Ridge have traveled to Ipala. This year, we hit a big milestone. We sent the 100th person from Cedar Ridge to travel to Guatemala, and that honor goes to Athena Galswick, White, I know, I got it. I tried to learn it ahead of time. So Athena definitely earned this honor for her excitement and passion serving the people of Ipala and for her extra time spent on the volcano. Congratulations, Athena. One of my special highlights this trip was being able to travel with Steve. He has never been to Ipala before, and now he's going to share a few thoughts about his experience.
Thanks, Trish. Good morning, everybody. So, as Trish mentioned, like most of you, I had never been to Ipala before, and out of the 13 people that were on our trip, 10 had never been to Ipala. So, only 3 were returning people. So, I want to give a little bit of analogy today to get you to kind of understand the difference between being here and going on the trip. And so if we could bring up the first slide. So this is a picture of one of the schools that we visited, and it's in black and white. And the reason it's in black and white is because the analogy that I'm using is you all are hearing about Guatemala, and you're hearing about the trip, and you saw that slideshow that Matthew started us off with. Well, most of you were not crying, but all of us in the front row, we were all crying because it brought back so much strong emotion. And so if you go to the next slide, this is kind of our experience of Apala. It was rich, and the people that we heard about, the different people, we actually met. We walked with, we shook hands with, we hugged, and we got to spend time with, we sang songs with. And so it was just a really rich time. So I just wanted to give you that analogy to kind of bring you into it. So that's one of the things I wanted to share. The other was, we are full of gratitude. Oh my gosh, we're so full of gratitude for so many people. We're full of gratitude for the people of Apala, who welcomed us so immensely, for Vernon Archer and for Cedar, the group that set up all the projects that we were doing. We basically had to show up and serve, but all that coordination was done ahead of time. We're very grateful for that. We are grateful for the pastors here at Cedar Ridge and for you for supporting these trips and making these trips possible. Matthew did a wonderful job, a splendid job of just preparing us for going to Cedar Ridge, or going to Apala, and what to do, what not to do, that kind of thing. We are grateful for our leader, who led 13 of us for a week, coordinating us day to day. And finally, I just want to, I'm so grateful to God for giving us the blueprint for love and for communication with others, especially in another country. So, thanks.
Thank you. Now if you'll stand with us for the next song.
Okay, if you'd like to take a seat, I'm going to welcome up a couple more members of the team. That is Corinne and Gina. If they would like to come up, let's give them a big round of applause. And they're just going to chat with us a little bit about some of the projects that we are currently doing and some that we've been doing for a while. This first slide is, I suppose it's a representation of our partnership. I'm not too sure about the flags there, but just, well, let's ignore those for the time being. But it's this friendship that's been going on for over 15 years. And a Cedar, Trish mentioned, is it's now a formal nonprofit, but really it started out as just a friendship. We just met some people down there. They started coordinating projects with us, and then over the years it's just become a little bit more formalized, and then had to become legal for just for all the transactions that take place with money and things like that. So they're a formal group now. And I was going to ask Corinne maybe just to start off with, before we get into some of those other slides, but just, your interactions with the team itself, the Cedar team. Tell us a little bit about that and how that went.
It was wonderful. I have been at this church for over 4 years and had met with Matthew many times asking about what they do overseas and had learned about a Cedar, but getting to meet them was wonderful, and just to see how this is a very legit nonprofit. They had receipts for us about everything they've done over the last year with how we've supported them, and just really wonderful people. They're Ipaltecos, they live there, they're part of the community. They're not coming in to try to help, they're just wanting to help the people they live and work with. And so just really genuine, wonderful people we were able to spend time with.
Yeah, and we, the way sort of we decide on projects is a partnership process. So they have ideas, we have thoughts, and we sort of come to those conclusions together. So some of the things we're going to be talking about are the product of that friendship. And actually, they are meticulous record keepers, right? So Gina brought back a whole massive bag of receipts that I'm still wading through. They're in my office at the moment. But let's just move on to a project that we've started over the last few years, more recently, and that's the solar projects. Gina, just tell us a little bit about, you went and visited some of those projects. Tell us a little bit about those.
Yes, that was very emotional. I hadn't expected to feel the way I felt when we got there, because we got there at night, and it was pitch dark. And as we walked up to one of the houses, the light came on outside.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to think that, they are living in conditions where they have to use kerosene lamps or candles to have light at night, and now they don't have to do that. It's a big improvement in their lives.
Yeah. So this is a project that we've done several phases, putting solar panels on the roofs of houses for homes that aren't hooked up to electric. So it's been, you can see a little bit of the technology, pretty simple technology, but a profound effect, right, on those families. Did you, any thoughts to share on that, Corinne, in terms of the impact?
Yeah, I mean, it was really interesting just to see how simple the installation is. It's $180 US to give a whole family that's often multi-generational families living in 1 to 2 room homes that are very, very humble. I think you can see in the previous pictures. Basically, they would have one room that would often have 3 or 4 beds, and that serves as their living room, their office, their bedroom, and then sometimes an indoor kitchen, a second room, and sometimes an outdoor kitchen. But without the 3 light bulbs that the solar panels are able to provide, it's pitch dark there by 6 p.m., if not a little earlier. So it is life-changing for them to not only have light to safely be able to cook by. We saw kids doing homework that they wouldn't really have been able to do as well before. But it also just allows them to charge cell phones that some of them need to be able to do their jobs. Some of them, drive a tuk-tuk, some of the little vehicles that you saw. And without their cell phones being charged, they can't work the next day to be able to get work. So it's life-changing in so many ways for them to have these couple outlets and the light bulbs that these solar panels provide.
That's great. And one of our big emphases is education, right? And so I know when I was down there last year that a lot of the families were saying that their kids are able to study, which because of the light, which is huge. Tell us a little bit about this photo, Corinne. What made you want to put that one in? Who is that?
That is me, and my daughter Sadie, who's 15, was able to join us on the trip, and these were a couple of the girls that we met that lived in one of the aldeas, which is like a little neighborhood outside of the main town. And these were just some girls they're very excited to see gringos. So they wanted to take a picture with us. We were excited to talk with them a little bit, and they were excited to show us their home. They were very proud of their light bulb. Their mom had plugged in a radio to one of the outlets they had, so they had music playing. So it was just lovely to get to have some personal connection with some of the people that, we sit here and write checks for solar panels, but to get to see what it's doing in real life was amazing.
And we've done fundraisers periodically. We'll do another one during the holiday season, in December, for more solar panels, because the ACEDA's goal is to light up every home in Impala, not just the town, but the area, because there's lots of villages around the outside of Impala. So pretty ambitious goal. So we're not going to do it in one go, but we're going to keep going at that.
One thing that they shared that I found really motivating about that goal is that by the end of this calendar year, they hope to have 164 homes with solar panels installed. And if they keep up with how many they've been doing annually, in 3 years, every house in the municipality will have electricity. And they said they would be the only rural town in Guatemala to achieve that.
Yeah, that's so cool. So yeah, that's encouraging. We're going to skip that video. Okay. So let's watch this video for a second. Do we have any sound?
Like 10 or 11 years ago.
I'll tell you what, we're going to start that.
Okay, here we are where the rush and the classroom that you guys made it like 10 or 11 years ago in Suyate. I don't know if you guys remember this, but this is the classroom. Also, I want you guys to pick a group of the
Esdwin, who is the mayor of Ipala, the sound wasn't fantastic on that, but he was just talking about this school which is in El Suyate, and that's a classroom that we actually help fund, again, as a partnership. But Gina, tell us a little bit. No, how many trips have you been on? Because you've been going for years, right, to Ipala?
I've been going since 2012.
Okay, so you've made a number of trips, and you've seen a lot of things evolve over those years. So tell us a little bit about your experience with some of the schools that we partner with. We have a partnership with a number of public schools down there. So tell us a little bit about that and your experience this time.
That was in 2015 when we built the schoolroom, and that was the schoolroom that we built. And our partnership also includes, supporting not just scholarships, but also supporting improvements on schools and school supplies. And it's been extremely satisfying and beneficial for us to be able to have provided that kind of support. Yeah. And the teachers and the students are so appreciative. They're appreciative of just our coming down. The fact that we have been able to send people down almost every year before COVID is a big motivator, because they really appreciate not just what we give, but giving of ourselves.
Yeah. Well, it's the relationship, right?
The relationship.
I mean, I think for us as well, that's what's so precious.
Yes.
So again, education is a big focus for us. And we're also really careful about, so with school supplies, with the solar panels, for instance, they're all locally made. We're trying to help stimulate the local economy rather than just bringing aid in, and the same with the school supplies projects. Yes. But there's something kind of a little different with the schools. One of the schools, La Reforma, it's an elementary school, a public elementary school. Many of the children that attend that school show up at school hungry, right? So we helped, you may remember, we raised some funds to install a kitchen, and here is, looks like Corinne is hard at work, and tell you as well there. So tell us a little bit about the kitchen and what's going on in La Reforma.
Yeah, we had the opportunity, we all had the chance each morning to break up into groups and go help cook breakfast at La Reforma at the kitchen that Cedar Ridge helped build there. And this was a pilot project for a Cedar, and they were really excited to report back that it's been a huge success. Briefly, just for context.
Maybe I could just say, because this is the swanky new kitchen. This is what it looked like a few months ago. That was it. So, so it's a pretty significant improvement. But.
Yeah, so the government does provide food for the elementary school children, and they will bring this food to the schools. It's supposed to last each child a month, but what ends up happening in most of the schools is that they send the food home with the families. They don't have anywhere to store it in the school. So the family then has multiple people in the family, and the food that's meant for that child gets eaten by the family within a few days. And then the child's coming to school hungry again most of the month. So the kitchen solves a huge problem, because then the children are able to have the food cooked for them and get really nutritious, very large portions. It was amazing, so much better than the school breakfast that we get here. Nothing packaged or processed at all. Very delicious, healthy, fresh food gets prepared for them every day at school, and then they have a meal that they wouldn't otherwise have at home. And so obviously the connection between them getting fed and then being able to learn better because, their brains are being fed as well.
Yeah, so cool. And here's a picture of some of the teachers, and there'll be an opportunity later in the service, a little take-home project, which we'll all be able to pray specifically for these teachers and for some in other schools as well. So here's some more pictures of the team. So did you help prep breakfast every morning, somebody, or?
Yeah, we all wanted a chance to do that, so I think 3 or 4 of us went every morning, so everyone got the chance to do it, and it was a great experience. The kitchen ladies are volunteers themselves, and they have a menu. It's a different meal every day, more than a week menu, so it doesn't, even rotate that quickly. And we made these delicious-looking tostadas with, probably 10 different vegetables involved as well as meat, and it was a really lovely thing to be able to serve to the kids.
That's so cool. Thanks so much. We're going to move on. Gina, you're going to be back up in a minute with telling us a little bit about another project, but this is a picture here of the students that we sponsor. So we have over 53 students at the moment that we are sponsoring to go through secondary education on a scholarship program. We've been doing that for about 13, 14 years. I've lost count now of how many graduates have gone through that. So, we want to help schools in general. We want to raise the level of quality education for the people as a whole in Ipala. And we've also got this program where for especially poor kids, they get an opportunity to go through secondary education that they otherwise wouldn't have had. And let's give Gina and Corinne a big round of applause. Thank you. And I'm going to invite 3 other team members to come up who are going to read some letters from those scholarship students. So if Tayu, James, and Jacob could come up. Let's give them a round of applause too.
Good morning. During our trip to Apollo, we spent time with many of the scholarship students that Cedar Ridge sponsors. One afternoon, we all gathered together in a municipal gym to play games, hang out, and finish the tree mural, which you will hear more about later. During our time together, each scholarship student presents us with their projects of life and a letter. Jacob, James, and I are going to read 3 of those letters now. It is a pleasure to greet you. My name is Glendy Elizabeth Gonzalez Hernandez. I hope in God you are well in all of your personal and church activities. I am a 6th grade student studying business administration and currently studying at the IDEC, Diversified Education Institute in Impala. I am the 2nd child of my parents, and I have an older and younger brother. Although my parents work hard paying for my younger brother's studies, household expenses, and my studies, it is quite complicated. It is an honor and privilege to address you to express my most sincere gratitude for granting me the scholarship. This support not only represents a fundamental relief for my economic situation, but it's also a valuable stimulus for my training. I have been striving to continue my academic and professional efforts. I deeply appreciate the trust placed in me, and I assume this commitment with great responsibility. The scholarship has allowed me to focus on my studies and will allow me to achieve my goal. I reiterate my gratitude for this opportunity and the positive impact it has on my life. I feel committed to honoring this support with dedication, effort, and excellence. I remain at your disposal for any requests and will not hesitate to share the fruits of this impulse that you give me today. You are loved, and I hope you know that here in Guatemala there is a little place that has a part of all of you. Sincerely, Glendy Gonzalez.
Okay, so now I will be reading the letter from Ellison Aldana. It says, "Dear organization members, please accept my cordial greetings. My name is Ellison Aldana, and I address you with a heart full of gratitude for having awarded me this scholarship, which represents a great blessing for my life and my academic training. Thanks to your generous support, today I have the opportunity to continue my studies at the Colegio Evangélico Amigos. This scholarship not only alleviates a significant financial burden, but also reinforces my commitment to self-improvement and my desire to contribute positively to society. I deeply value the work your organization does by investing in the education and the future of young people like me. I will do my best to make the most of this opportunity and to honor the trust you have placed in me, demonstrating dedication, responsibility, and excellence. Thank you very much for believing in me and my potential. I hope that in the near future, you will continue to support others just as you have done with me. With sincere gratitude, Ellison Aldana.
Greetings from Perla Arias. I thank God for the opportunity to greet you, and I hope your day is filled with His presence and blessings. I am a student in diversified education, pursuing a degree in early childhood education at EDEC School. I have 2 older sisters, and my mom and sisters cannot read or write. For that reason, I've decided to put a lot of effort in my studies, to have better opportunities and to be able to support them, as they are willing to help, as they are helping me with great effort so I can continue studying, even though it is challenging at times. For this reason, I am truly grateful to you for the help you have provided me over these years. I started with a scholarship in 2023, and thanks to God, I still have it. With the help you provide me, I cover my study expenses. May God bless you, and may the hand of God always accompany and protect you. With His favor, you may continue these projects and support more young people like me. I send you a big hug, and know that here in Guatemala, there's a little place that holds a part of you, Ipala. We have come to the part in our service where we are going to take communion together. We do this every week as a way of remembering that Jesus is with us, so close, in fact, that Christ is in us and we are Christ. We are one. And communion is also a celebration that we all belong to one another. We too are one. So we join now with all the followers of Jesus down through the centuries and followers around the world today to celebrate that all of humanity is one family.
This morning, we especially want to celebrate our love for our family in Apala, and there are various ways that we can do that around the room. We have 3 stations where you can take communion. The one in the middle, front left. Both of these have corn tortillas and orange juice. So take a tortilla, pour a glass of juice. You can celebrate by eating and chatting with someone, or take it back to your seat for personal reflection. The other station on my right is a little more traditional. It has the gluten-free crackers and grape juice. So if you want to do that instead, you can do that.
We also have some tables around the room, the ones with the trifold posters on them, that you can interact with during this time. You may remember that a few weeks ago, before our team left for Apala, we put all our handprints on some canvases that we took to the schools we support. This is a way of expressing all our love in personal manner. Teachers from 2 of those schools, La Reforma and Sinai, have sent their own handprints back to us, along with ways they'd like us to pray for them. So on the tables, you'll find these handprints and English translations of their prayer requests. They are on cards that you can take home with you as a way of remembering and praying for them.
We also have some other items at the tables. There are various gifts and letters that people in Apala have sent us, and also life projects from the scholarship students. These are special displays they put together for us that represent their own unique stories, hopes, and dreams. So please take a prayerful look at these too. Team members will also be at the table, so feel free to chat with us and ask questions. And there are other ways to respond at this time. You can light a candle as a form of prayer and a symbol of light at the back of the auditorium, or visit one of the other stations around the room. All the information about these is on the front page of the bulletin you received when you came in this morning.
When you are ready, please get up, move around, take communion, visit the tables, chat with one another, and celebrate God's love and presence with us. Thank you.
Okay, we're going a little long today. Sorry about that, but it's going to be worth it, I promise you. We've got a few more quick presentations that the team are going to make. The first one's going to be about a mural that they created down there that was very much based on the handprints. We talked about the handprints of ours that we sent down as a personal connection, and we've brought handprints back, so do pick up some of the handprint prayer cards from the tables. They've got prayer requests from the teachers in those schools that we were hearing about. You can grab those afterwards and interact with the tables afterwards as well. But first of all, we're going to just watch a little video about the mural that was created down there during the team's trip.
No, yo videos. That is so cool. Sí.
So let's
Yeah, just some context for the mural. Back in 2018, when we had a team go to Ipala, a Cedar asked us if we would partner with them to do a mural, and we did. And this year, they asked us if we could recreate that mural and the tree with the handprints for the mural we did in 2018, and they wanted to do it again to represent our continued partnership and our support for their community and their support for our friendship.
Yeah, so I want to start talking with maybe a quick experience that I had from the mural. While we were painting or putting our hands on the mural, there are a few times I would look up and say, it looks about done. We have all our hands down. It looks pretty good. Maybe in my head I was thinking, can we go back to the hotel? But when we're completely finished, I looked at the mural and I realized it was so much better than what it was when I thought that it was completely finished. It looked beautiful, and I was really glad that we got to paint that mural. And we also did this mural in conjunction with all the scholarship students. They all came and put their hands, painted their hands onto the mural. And I think this kind of story can really represent, our relationship with the students there. You can always, build a bigger relationship with them. You might think that you're completely finished with meeting them. You've already met them. You've already shook hands. But something like this really builds our experience. And I think that the relationship really can broaden from there. And I thought that after this, the mural, our relationship was really beautiful with them. We got to meet them. We got to have this thing we did together, talk to them while we were doing it. It was amazing. Yeah.
And the mural was done in the gymnasium, which is a place that's used frequently on a regular basis, so everyone can appreciate and see it every day.
Hi again, my name is Amy.
One of my fondest memories during this trip, thinking back and while we were there, was the gift from the children. Each school we visited, every single one, whether schools with very low resources or some with lots of resources, every single one of them took time to put together some sort of welcome ceremony for us. A lot of times there was dances and costumes and singing. Sometimes they did presentations where they were educating us on the different cultures within Guatemala, so they would show us different dances or, the other thing though that was a gift was that they practiced so hard, some of them, to speak English. So they would stand in front of us, which took a lot of courage, and would talk to us in the best way they could in English. So some of these pictures, there's so many, and I know you guys saw some during the first slideshow. But again, these are examples of just some of the things that we had the gift of experiencing in the different schools. Some, again, were larger schools who had instruments and lots of space, and they had pretty much I didn't get to see this one, but I think it was pretty much like a marching band presentation. You guys got to experience the beauty of the young ladies singing to us. Worship songs, and even the littlest ones. Again, I wasn't here for this one either, but their little costumes, and they were just so excited to see us. This is one of the young ladies who was very bravely speaking, practicing her English in front of us. There were cultural representations, like this was a traditional cultural dance representing some of the history between two different people groups. We had, again, more dances. We even had, I don't know if there's a picture of this, in this particular school, they also showed us traditional instruments and did presentations of those. In one of the schools, they actually, they did like 5 or 6 different, it was one of the first schools we went to, and the very last song, they did an Elvis song for us. And the kids, the little boys had like cardboard guitars, and they were playing, it was really, and that was clearly for us, so it was very cute. But yeah, they just had so much pride and joy to share with us. It was really a gift, and it got to the point where each and every school visit we would just look forward to. This is the Elvis dance. We look forward each and every time to anticipating how we would be greeted and joining them in games and all sorts of things. So, wanted to share that with you guys.
Good morning. My name is Rick, and I want to share just an observation. When I landed in Guatemala City, we had a 4+ hour van ride out to Apala. And as I'm going through the country, I'm seeing a lot of what looked like incomplete and abandoned construction of the homes. Poured concrete. Oh, there we go. Poured concrete framework, partial concrete blocks on the first floor, maybe work on the second floor, but not a lot of activity on these homes. And we've all seen abandoned projects in other situations. Heck, there's one back, an abandoned home project from behind my house from 2008, for example. And I've seen them in other countries as well. So it's easy to wonder if what we're looking at is failed hope and or failed plans, failed investments, and broken dreams. But rather than come to that conclusion, I asked, and I was talking to some folks down there, and it was a little different. And as it was explained to me down there, what we often saw was the folks, when they had a property upon which they could build, they would collect some building materials. They would call in their friends, their neighbors, and their family. Labor is free. And they would start building on the property. And when they ran out of materials, they'd stop. And then a little bit later, when they got some more materials, they'd start building again. And bit by bit, over time, God willing, they were able to have a residence, a new home. And rather than, and this particular situation is an example. It's a little different, but what we have here is building of the home around their existing dwelling. And the metal dwelling there is where they're currently living. And the goal there is to build up eventually to the point where you can dismantle what's inside the dwelling and just live in the new dwelling. And it was nice because I found it very positive. It represented, rather than broken dreams and whatnot, it represented more a patience and optimism and a hope. And this patience, optimism, and hope seemed to correspond quite well with the patience, optimism, and hope of our partners down there with whom we worked, and with others whom we worked, and generally with the folks with whom I talked, with whom I worked, and with whom I broke bread. Thank you.
Good morning. Like everyone here, I have 100 stories I could tell you. And there is probably one story that you are expecting me to tell. It is not the story I'm going to tell you this morning. And there are a lot of reasons for that, but the biggest one is that for me, even though it is what ended my trip, it is not what my trip was about. And so I don't want to focus on that. But I am open to questions. We can talk about it later, but I just don't want to use this time for that. But I will briefly share for those of you who don't know, because it's necessary context for what I do want to talk about. Midweek on our trip, we were hiking, and on the way down the volcano, I slipped and broke my ankle. So it's important for you to know that, because contrary to what you see here in front of you, before July 23rd, one of the main ways that I thought about myself was as a walker. In fact, in the previous over 5 years before that day, there were 37 days that I did not walk 10,000 or more steps. And I know that because I counted. I fought a lot of boredom and self-pity in the days after breaking my ankle. So walking was really important to me. So when I started thinking about this trip and the things to worry about, because worry is one of my spiritual gifts, I was wondering, how am I going to get my steps in? What am I going to do? How am I going to do it without driving my roommate Gina crazy, pacing around our hotel room? What would this be like? And so imagine my delight when we arrived at our hotel and I discovered that it was right next to basically a walking path. Here we go, sorry. So this is what is referred to as the boulevard. It's a 2-lane road divided by a grass median that's about, I asked for specifics, didn't really get them, about 40 feet wide, and this sidewalk that runs down the middle of it. It was built on what used to be the railway right-of-way, and it's a little under 2 miles. It features trees and statues, and the folks on our trip who had been to Ipala before were really excited and felt that this showed the kind of progress that's being made in the community. I just saw it as an easy place where I was going to get my steps in. As I walked it, however, it began to mean so much more. So it was definitely a source of directions. as our daily activities divided us into smaller groups and we coordinated transportation, some of us in tuk-tuks, some of us piled into the backs of vehicles, some of us would walk, and our directions were always easiest with points along the boulevard. Turn right at the Yo Heart Ipala sign, or when you get to the big cross, it will be on the left, or it's in the field next to the train. And it also became a sense of a source of orientation. We could know where we were in Ipala based on which statue or marker we saw. One day when Amy and I were walking back from a school visit following GPS, and we arrived at the spot where GPS thought our hotel should be, it was clearly confused. So we started walking one way on the boulevard and quickly saw the statue of the Ten Commandments and knew we needed to turn around to make our way home. But it was also a lovely place of connection, walking with others from Cedar Ridge, because one of our very important rules is we never went anywhere alone. The boulevard became a place to share stories and to get to know each other, and conversations deepened as the miles grew. It was also a place to have moments of connections with the people of Ipala. At any time of day that I walked, I encountered locals exercising, people walking to and from school and work, friends and families gathered in groups, sitting in the grass. It was a great time to practice greeting folks in Spanish, and the greetings were always returned with warmth. Sometimes as we passed, we would even hear a timid or bold hello or bye, they wanting to practice their English as much as I wanted to practice my Spanish. But I have a favorite discovery along the boulevard. I found it on my first walk on our first day, although its meaning wouldn't resonate with me until later in the trip. There is a statue right outside our hotel that contains these lines from a poem by a local writer. The lines translate to, "Ah, Ipala of my soul, like a melody you vibrate within me, and when I look at you, I live and breathe you. And in the silent nights of vigil, I wander and listen to you, feel you and love you. I carry you so deep within me that when I leave, you go with me." Indeed, Ipala and its people have embedded themselves in my heart and go with me. So although I, of course, look forward to being able to move about unassisted, I really can't wait to walk the boulevard again.
Sing one more song. So if you stand, please.